glasses, and we're going to be using this 2-part stamp as well. And I'm going to do a great technique with this one that is going to truly make you look like an artist. The first stamp we're going to revisit is this one though. I don't know if a lot of you have seen it. If you have seen it or you haven't got it out of the packet, this is a perfect opportunity to do that with it. Okay, it gives a great looking wedding card, celebratory card, something like that. So let's go ahead with our first demo. So I'm just going to take this one out of the packet. And I'll just read you some of the sentiments on here. So we have time to celebrate, a drink a day keeps reality at bay, enjoy, cheers, wine flies when you're having fun, Mr. Mrs. And you get the ring and then the glasses and then the lamination part, which is the wine effect. So if you like a white wine or a red or whatever you like, you know, you can pop that colour in there. So I'm just going to grab the trusted Eureka. And what we're going to do first is I'm going to do a little bit of spotlight stamping. Now, for those of you that don't know what spotlight stamping is, it's a fabulous technique, and it's a technique that I love to revisit every time maybe I'm wanting to do a different stamp look, or sometimes even when I'm running dry on ideas, as we all do as crafters. And this is a lovely one to revisit to encourage yourself to, you know, pick them back up and have another go. So I have 2 pieces of cardstock here, and I'm just going to make sure that I am going to stamp it the right way. I am. So before I put any stamping onto this piece of cardstock, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this piece to this lower piece just with a bit of low tack adhesive, or should I say a little bit of a tape runner, so I can remove it when I'm ready. So I'm just going to place this into the centre of this piece of cardstock. So it's just held temporarily. Now I'm going to hold my artwork in place while we do the technique. So the first stamp that I'm going to use on this stamp carrier sheet is the rings, which is this one, which is fabulous. So we're going to create like a watermark on this card. So here we have, so I'm going to use a red because I think it looks really lovely in the like red wine effect. So I'm going to use VersaFine Satin Red. So it's not a bright red, it could probably do with a little bit more burgundy, but you use whatever you've got in your stash at home. You don't have to use what I have. So I'm just going to pick up the stamp. So if you do like what I'm using in studio, you can always pop onto the website and grab them. All you need to do is pop the FBL into the FBL into the search engine on our website, and all the products that I am using are on there. But if not, and you have got plenty and plenty of stamps already in your stash, go and have a look through and see if anything you've got already in your stash would suit this technique. So I'm just doing this quite random. I'm just going to do it around the page. And just keep swapping the stamp around. Now you can do second generation, you get like this effect here, so light and dark, and I am going to leave that one because it looks quite cool. And we'll go for this one here. Get some colour on this one. So I'm going to leave that one quite light. So there already you get the effect of what's going to happen. So I'm just going to move this one onto the edge here, because now what we're going to do is we're going to use our wine glasses. So I'll pop that back on the carrier sheet, and we'll do our wine glasses in black so it pops from the page, and I think it'll stand out a little bit better on camera for you so you can see the effect. So with regards to lamination stamps, I always like to spritz my coloured layer so it gives a true watercolour look, but you try both ways, see what suits you, because sometimes, you know, they do look just as good if you don't spritz. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the wine glasses on here, look. I'm just going to pop them a little lower So the glasses come over this little bit of cardstock we've got in the centre, and so it doesn't move, I'm just going to pop that magnet there. So I am going to stamp this one out in black so you can see how amazing it is. And make sure you get right into that little crease on that little lip of that card if you can. Now I don't think I need to repeat stamp that, that's absolutely beautiful. So I'll just remove this one from here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the solid portion, which is the coloured portion on your carrier sheet, that's this one here, and we're going to create a little bit of wine in the glasses. So you can see how it's going to go. So basically the wine sits in the glasses, so you can move it around, you can twist it a little bit. Just try and get it in there best you can. It is watercolour and it is loose, so if you don't get it right, it is no great shakes, it's watercolouring. So there's a lot of room there for you if you are not the best stamper in the world. So I'm just going to go with that one. And I'm going to go for the same colour that we did our rings in, so it gives a true effect. And I'm just going to stamp it out so you can see. Now if you want to make this sparkly, like bubbles, the sequins, buttons, quickie glue pen, and see there you've got like a celebratory glass, which is cool. I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. You can see there already that looks fabulous. So I'm just going to swap this one out and we'll get a sentiment from there. So we're going to go with a drink a day keeps reality at bay, and I'm hoping this will fit within this little gap here, and it does just, which is amazing. So I'm just going to pop that in there like so. I'm still going to hold my artwork in place just in case it doesn't stamp perfectly. Now I know it is a celebratory card with relation to alcohol, but the sentiments does not need to be straight and doesn't want to look like I've stamped it when I have been drinking. So I'm just going to stamp this one in black. Just do it one more time. So before I even touch that, I'm just going to dry it off a little bit, because me and my mucky marks will end up with a big thumbprint somewhere along the line. So what you need to do then is, obviously the tape that's underneath, it was just a temporary fix, so we need to try and just twist it off there. There we go, so you've got two separate parts now. And this element here that we've got here, that'll make a beautiful card anyway. That looks quite cool, doesn't it? You get the idea. So you could do two cards for the price of one, really. So I'm just going to stick this onto some glitter, Gossip glitter card, and the glitter that I'm using is the gold, and it's the 250 weight that I use. Hold that in place while it dries. So ahead of time, I've done a card blank. I did a black matten layer, Gossip gold, and another piece of black. And then this element here, which we've got from our first part, we're going to glue this straight onto the card. I'm going to stick this straight onto here. So you can see already our card's coming together. Just make sure you give it the opportunity to stick. And then just hold that in place with my magnet while it dries. And then this part here, I'm going to pop some pads behind. Now you could double pad to give it some depth, but I just want a little accent on there. I don't want it like a cake, as some people call it. This looks fabulous in gold embossing as well, so I'm just going to get the image and I'm just going to ensure that it matches, coordinate it back up with how I stamped it. So take your time with it, there is no rush. When I'm happy it's all back in line and I'm happy it's straight. There we have the dimensional spotlight stamping card. So you get the idea there with the lamination side of things. So you don't have to do it in red, you can do it in your lovely light colours to create the appearance of bubbly, pink gin, whatever you like. There is no right or wrong way, but it does truly give a great celebratory card. So that's demonstration number 1. I'm going to set this aside and we're going to move on to demonstration number 2. So I'll just get rid of this one. So for the next demonstration I'm going to be using this one. Just move this one out of the way. So again, this is a lamination stamp, but I'm going to show you how you can use it in a completely different way. So I'll just remove this from the stamp set. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the solid portion first on this one. So I'm just going to bring my Eureka back into play here. And I have a piece of white cardstock. This is just normal cardstock, it's not watercolour card, so white cardstock works just the same. So I'm just going to take the solid portion from the stamp set. And what we're going to do is turn ourselves into mini artists in a very, very simplistic way. So I'm just peeling this one from the carrier sheet. I'm just going to place it on here. Now you could do it in arch fashion if you wanted to, but I'm just going to do it straight up so you get the full effect. So I have a Generation Inks DG03 now. This is a very, very pale grey, and I'm going to pop this on here and stamp it out in this colour simply because I'm going to add the colour myself so it looks like I've painted it. So this will give me a really light shadow, and you will see what I mean in a second. It doesn't even matter if it doesn't stamp perfectly because it's just to help, it's just a guideline. I'm not sure if you can see that there. You can see it's just a shadow, so it's perfect really. So I'm just going to remove that from the carrier sheet. And this is where you get to enjoy and play yourself really. So I have a paintbrush, I have some clean clear water, and I have my Gossip inks. I have number 6 and number 11. Now I know a lot of you have already got these inks, so the ones that I'm using today are number 6 and number 11. If you haven't got these, maybe pick up some watercolour pencils or some watercolours or something you may already have in your stash. So I'm going to use number 6 first, and I'm going to give it a shake because I do want it to be sparkly. So if you want in clean clear colour, you leave the bottle to stand alone. If you want a bit of sparkle, you can give it a shake and then the colour goes sparkly. So I'm just going to take, I'll just move this down a little bit, I'm just going to take the cork out of here. So that's that one. And then number 11. So basically all I'm going to do, I'm going to do a petal at a time. I'm just going to wet the area. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do this large petal at the top here, and all I'm going to do with water is I'm going to colour where it's grey with the water. Okay, so I'm just going to cover that whole petal there where it's grey just with water. And what will happen is you'll get a shine, so you'll be able to see that it's wet. So I've just covered that whole petal there with water, nothing fancy, like so. Then I'm going to take this one here, and I'm just going to collect some of the colour from there, and I'm just going to drop it in, and what will happen is it will just land into the water. It will never go past the water that you have put in there. I'm just going to drop it in there, so I have a bit of coverage on there. So that's one petal. I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to take the second colour, pick up some of the second colour, and I'm just going to pop it in the base here. And I'm just going to let it do its thing. I'm not going to overwork it, I'm just going to let it do its thing. Now if you've put it on like I have then, it's heavy, go back into your first colour and drop the first colour back in. What will happen is it will push that line back. Now I'm just going to leave that to do its own thing. It will come to fruition when we're done. So clean clear water, let's move on to the next one. So I'm just going to move on to here, cover it all with water. Plenty of water on there. So this is quite a big one, this one. So clean clear water, then I'm going to pick up the pink, drop the pink in to the water, follow the lines. And then clean my brush, get the second colour and drop the second colour in. I'm trying to keep the purple colour to the centre, here in the centre of the flower, if that makes any sense at all. But I'm not going to overwork it, I'm just going to let the water do the magic. So I'm just going to move on to this one here. Wet it first, pick up some pink, drop in the pink. Now this petal here is a little bit wet, so I'm just going to take some of my tissue and drink some of it up. Whereas we will be here all day waiting for it to dry, and fortunately we haven't got all day, have we? So as much as we love it, we haven't. There we go, like so. So this pink one then, so I'm just going to clean my brush, pick up some of the purple and gently just drop a little bit of the purple into the centre there. Let it just do its thing. I'm just going to continue this process now along this one. So I'm wetting the area. I'm just going to pick up some of the pink. Drop the pink in. Clean my brush, swap it out for the other colour. I'm trying to keep the purple, as I said, starting from the centre, working out, make that a little bit darker if we can. Just dropping it in and just let the water do the work, don't overwork. So that's like one flower head, which is gorgeous. So I'm just going to move on to this bottom one and do exactly the same process. So water, pick up some of the pink, drop some in. So the ink will only go where you've put the water. Pick up some of the purple. Just remember always to clean your brush between swapping the colour. You wouldn't want to contaminate your inks, because if they're your best inks like they are mine, we don't like to contaminate. So clean my brush, move on to this one. So basically this is called a wet in wet technique. So you wet the paper and you drop the watercolour in. So you're dropping something wet into something wet, and the water just does its magic with the colour. So clean my brush. take it up the sides if you want a bit of colour up the sides. So I'm nearly done. I didn't want to do one ahead of time on this because I appreciate a lot of you maybe have never seen the technique, and because it's only 2 flower heads, I just decided to go with doing it live. So I'll get the second colour. Oh, nearly popped some ink on there without water, so water first. Pink. So just to cover again, I'm using number 6 and number 11. So if you do want to create the same, you can do that. Right, so I've done, that's the flower heads. So I didn't pick up a green. That's my silly fault. So I've just got this at hand already. So I'm just going to take a green from here and paint the stems in. So I'm just going to, wet my brush, pick up some of the green, and I'm just going to paint in these lovely stems. I'm just going to do them lightly because when you come to put your black outline on, you will see that this is just an accent anyway. Now you can do this technique with all of the lamination stamps, not just these 2. So I'm just gonna, that already looks beautiful. Now does that not look like you've painted it? It really does look like you've painted it to me. You stamp a sympathy sentiment in the centre of there, your card is finished. So I'm just gonna dry this off. It's such a relaxing technique is this one, and it's one of my all-time favourite techniques. Unfortunately, the time to demonstrate this is a little bit longer than we're allowed on TV. So this is why the studio is a fabulous place to come and visit, because we just get, you know, unlimited time to really show you how to get the most out of your products. So me personally, I would leave that as is and mount it onto a card and put a sentiment on there. But because I want to show you the lamination element of it, I want to show you how fabulous it looks as soon as you add the outline. Now, what I will do is I will add the outline in grey, so it gives you a very pale, like a sketch, so it looks like you've sketched it. But then what I'll do is I'll go over it then in the black to show you the how it will look if you did it in black as well, okay? So I'll do both. At this point I would stop and I wouldn't do anything else to my beautiful painting, to be honest. Let me know what your thoughts are at home. Do you like it so far? Would you add the outline? But again, it's a piece of card and it's a piece of paper. Maybe do it once, do it this way, then do it again and try it with the different one. Make sure I've got it the right way. Excuse me. So you can see when you line it up, there's an accent there. It's a sketch drawing, remember, and it's very, very loose. So you are not going to get the true outline of a petal. That's not watercolouring, and that's not how I did it when I drew this. So let's put it on in grey first, so you can see exactly what I mean. So might have to do this a couple of times so it actually shows. But we'll just go for it. Do it again. Now do it one more time in the grey, and this is where you get the pencil-y sketch appearance. See that there? I'll just do it one more time, make it a little bit darker. So there we go, that just looks like a beautiful sketch, but because I would like you to see it live on air, I am going to just go over it in black and do it in black. Now, you're probably going to be thinking at home, no, you will spoil it. But hey, listen, this is live studio and I want to show you how to get the most out of your products. So there, now you can see how black instantly brings it to life. So it's all about the card you are trying to achieve. You saw it without the outline, looked amazing. You saw it with grey pencil, it looks amazing. It even looks amazing in black, if I may say so myself, but it's down to you and your crafty ideas at home. So within the set we have a lovely sentiment as well. Remember, there's someone who thinks of you often and smiles, and that is the one I'm going to use. Just going to pop it on the side here. Go. And what I'm going to do, just to give it a little bit more of an arty feel, I'm just going to pick up some of this purple ink out of my jar. I'm just going to pop some little artwork splats on there, so it does look like we have painted it. And we'll just dry it off with my gun. So another fabulous reason for you to get your gossip bottles out and have a play. So I'm just going to stick this onto this card blank, and I have used Rubelite on this one, and this is again the 250 GSM. Just give that a second to bite. So we have there two totally different cards, but using our infamous lamination stamps. So there is no right or way to use these. You can use the technique I've just used there, where you can use a light coloured ink pad, drop the water in, then drop your colour in on top. That gives you a truly watercolour finish, and I do hope you do try this one at home. And the wine glasses give you more of a contemporary feel as well, which is super cool. Just make sure that sticks. So two absolutely beautiful cards, basically with little to no effort on there. So I will be posting both of these out to one lucky winner. If you do drop a comment, let me know which ones you liked the best. Is it a technique you've already tried, already love, or is it a technique that you're going to run up to your craft room and try? And if you do that, then that means I've done my job. So I'm back now on my studios a Monday and a Wednesday, and they are at 11 o'clock. We're having to change the schedule a little bit. So please don't worry if you miss them. If you're working, that's absolutely fine. They never go away. They will always be there on a YouTube link and on Facebook. So 11 o'clock Mondays and Wednesdays, TV permitting. Whatever you're doing this evening, have a great one, and I will catch you all later. Take care, everybody. Bye.